So we've got our monthly seasonal tier list, and we've got actually a lot of changes. I feel like the meta has been shifting quite a lot, and season 4, even though there's not any like game breaking DPS change, I think it's been a very healthy season for the game, and I'm really happy to change a lot of things, add 2 new people to SS. One I think I was underrating, and one that's new. And then we've got many changes, some getting buffed, some getting nerfed, some, let me open up Pride Win, which does not have Veto and Gundari, so I'm just gonna have to you're gonna have to take my word for it. But the translations are on the Twitter. I know what they do, it's just I'm not gonna pull it up because it's not as clean as Pride Win is, but it's not there yet, which does suck. So Nozelle's been buffed, we've gotten 5 new SSRs, so 6 changes just from that. We've got a lot of changes in terms of units that have become worse because of how the meta is looking. Now, what I want you guys to realize is that all these units are considered to be basically at their maximum value. And that would include max dupes. If max dupes helps them, well, yes, they're max dupe. And if skill pages help them, yes, that's going to add on. But if their skill page is bad, that might actually retract some points from them. Because if you compare 2 units that are max value or have the max potential, and one is significantly worse at max potential than the other, then that's how I'm going off of this, right? So some units obviously will be placed a bit weirdly in some of your guys' eyes, but this is from me playing a decent bit, and I think I got a pretty good grasp. I've posted showcases for all 5 of these if you want to check out my showcases for the recent units. I've not done a Nozelle updated showcase, but I think I got a good idea for him too. Now let's start with the changes in the tiers from what we have right now. So first of all, we've got Asta going to SS. I think in attack, even in defense, he could be very scary, but in attack, because at max dupe he has 109 speed, he's going to be the scariest DPS in the game because of the fact that he has the highest speed of a DPS. And if you go to stats, speed, he's in the top ranks. I would say this to me is very much top ranks because these 3 you won't see. Gordon you will not see. Heath you won't see. And then for the most part, all the rest are supports. His speed is very scary when you also combine the fact that his damage single target is crazy. He could basically get 1 guaranteed kill, 2 if he gets lucky. And the thing is, before my view on this was like, if he gets taunted, he sucks. But he's quicker than everyone who could taunt in this game. Rades, 107 speed. Mars, 100 speed. Vettel, 100 speed. The only people that could really taunt him are debuffers with the event skill page. So because of that, he is deserving of the SS tiering. Now, to me, Lich goes down. The value of having the the immortality is very good, which is the only thing keeping him in A tier. But the problem is that the immortality is starting to be all he has. His damage is decent, but for him to survive that long, it's very difficult. I would say that you could get lucky if you have to build him very, very well for him to be even decent. And I don't think he's contending with what all of these guys, or most of these guys, because I'm moving some down, most of these guys offer. I'd still say A is a very good place for him. He is a pretty high A. Like, he's someone you're going to see in the meta. A doesn't mean irrelevant, right? It's just he's not contending with all of these guys that are going to stay in S tier. Now, next up, we're going to be moving down Kohono. So Kohono, why I'm moving down is that the full barrier meta is not as good. And when you're comparing her to Charmy, it is night and day in my eyes. I think Kohono does offer some different things. But as of right now, Charmy is just so much better at what she does than Kohono that it's crazy. She gives the defense increase plus also the HP recovery continuous for 2 turns in the same skill, and also gives increased skill points by 1 special points. So for me, this is just a clear difference night and day, where the defense increase alongside the HP recovery is just so much better than what Kohono offers with her 20-30k barrier, that it is much more worth getting the 2-turn HP heal than just the 1-turn barrier, especially when we're starting to get units like Fuego Leon, Season 4 Fuego, who just break barriers, right? So that's just how it is. Kohono's still a pretty good unit, but Charmy's just outright better. Now, someone who suffered because of Veto's release and what he does basically the same as Asta. Asta is still a good choice. I think that for attack, he is a very good option. because of the fact that many teams run stun teams with either Charlotte or William alongside Mars combo into the AoE stun, and Asta blocks it. He blocks it because of the fact that he gets one turn status change immunity at the beginning of a fight. So it's still very good. He gets a guaranteed 2-turn taunt, and then AoE it's like 34%. But Vettel has an AoE 70%, and it's a better version of a taunt. So yes, Asta has his very good qualities, but he is starting to go a bit below because of Vettel doing basically the same thing. The 2-turn taunt, what taunts stop is using buff abilities, which is why taunts are so strong, and I think that he is very deserving of this very high A ranking. I think he just lost that little bit of extra what he needed. And let's just explain real quick. She has res, heals a fuck ton, debuffs, 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 and debuffs. He taunts, tanks amazingly well, stuns. He stops stuns, barrier, defense increase. Insane damage output. He could offer counter, speed increase, attack increase, and damage reduction. Him, high speed debuffer, that works perfectly well with the event skill page, this one, which applies taunt. Like, you have a chance to apply taunt when you apply debuff. She is an insane healer, increases defense, increases skill points, speed, right? He is like, these guys are insane for everything they do, and these guys are just a bit worse. Now let's start going down to the changes to the people who go lower. I don't think anyone goes higher, not at all. So first of all, we're gonna put Raya lower. So Raya, just damage wise, you need to put him with Lich, but putting those two together is basically just saying GG, because at this point in the game, everyone's so tanky and that there's almost no point to putting those two together. You will not be piercing enough. I don't believe it. And Raya alone is, to me, worthless. You don't really want to use Raya. Like, Kyado's just a better version of what Raya does. And Raya takes too much building up that it's like, okay, well, you can maybe get one kill, but that's all he's doing. Like, you get that one ultimate kill, and then that's a possibility. It's not even a guarantee, right? So it's just not as crazy as like Kyato, to me, right? Because Kyato has guaranteed crit and very much higher multiplier. And you really need to invest into Raya. But like, if you have two DPSs, it's much better to go for like Julius, who like has stun, stamina lower, stuff like that, right? So Raya just doesn't cut it anymore to be in this tier. But everyone else still has their value. We could also put Nozella because he did get buffed, which is very good. Basically, he got now basically... Oh, wait, what? Okay, so the magic attack reduction went up to level 3. Which is very good. The magic attack reduction level 3 is very nice. The disarm is basically lowering full damage, which is also insane. And he has good speed. So to me, he is worth the A tier. I think that Nozel is a lower A tier, but it's still very good. Like, to me, if I were to put this in order, I think it would go something like this. I think Yami's got an insane potential recently too. It's been kind of wild. I don't know what it is, but like in order, I'd say that this is where I place it. Maybe if we look at A tier, it's very solid. Like, even A tier units are still very good in PvP. Yami's been very scary. He does pretty good damage, but it's his silence that's really good. Charlotte debuffs like crazy, offers people extra turns. Ghost is an amazing support. Sally's an amazing support, and especially because of her high speed, which I didn't know she had such high speed. I'm not gonna lie, but her speed is what? 108 is very good. Lich is still good for his immortality. Fauna, great damage. Real good debuffer, and Nozel, a good debuffer. Now these guys stay because they're good SRs. He AoE taunts, plus also could AoE stun if you use him with a debuffer who has incapacitate, which is 1, 2, 3. 3 people have incapacitate on ult, so it's very good. It's very good. I really do like that. Now, except for that, I would also like to move Gifso up. He is a pretty good unit who offers AoE increased damage, right? And then also AoE increased all attack, which to me is definitely A worthy. If you don't have Charlotte, I'd say that he is a very, 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 very good substitute, right? Now, except for that, I feel like we're starting to get to the point where we're going to add the new units. I'm not really seeing any other changes that I particularly need to do. But we do have a lot, or a decent, I guess I should say, amount of changes or additions. So we're going to start with Charlotte. She is SS tier. The more I see her use, the more I'm like, holy shit, she is amazing. So what she does is obviously counter, but she does even more than that, and it's kind of crazy. So she is almost like, it's insane, but she's almost a better version of William in many ways. And let me explain why. First of all, she has the same speed as William, the highest speed in the game, which immediately is great. Of course, we have to count max potential, okay? If you have her skill page, she is by far, like, insane. Best support in the game. So, how you could use her is two ways. Either you use her for the counter, or you use her with the ultimate with Mars. So this is even better than using it with William, because what Charlotte's going to do is at level 5, she gives 20% damage reduction, and then Mars is going to get the AoE stun. And because she has the highest speed, you're going to go first. She's going to get the 20% fortify for everyone, which makes it so everyone will not die right away, and also gets the stun with Mars because of the high speed. Now, another way you could use her is immediately use the skill 2. It's going to give the all attack increase to everyone and total defense, which counts damage as blocked. And most of the times I've seen this total defense make it so I cannot kill the people. Like, I just physically, it doesn't let me. So it's so good at doing what she wants to do. And if you don't want to use the fortify, let's say you don't want to use a stun team, then you get to use the AoE counterattack on the ult. That's guaranteed at level 5. She's a very good unit, high speed, right? Has a good skill 2, good skill 1 with the counterattack, good ultimate, and good combo attack. This is probably just one of the best combined attacks. 20% fortified, that goes really well with Mars's stun, is insane, giving the all attack increase. And why this is better than William's in many ways is because all attack is just more useful for everyone, right? William is only really useful for Asta and Kiaro, but if you use Charlotte, it could make your whole team just giga buffed. And if you're using, like, it could buff Noelle a lot, Julius a lot, Asta, Kiano, right? It could also buff Mimosa for healing more, Rades for a bigger shield, Lotus because he does pretty good chip damage, and then every other DPS, right? So that to me is really good. Plus the total defense makes it very worth it. Charlotte was an amazing addition that I wish I would max out, but I just don't. I mean, I have William maxed out, so it's like there's no point because she does his job better, but William is still an amazing unit. And because I have it maxed out, I don't see a point in going for that. Now, Guldri, Guldri, I'm just going to say Guldri. It sounds a bit better. Y'all are fucking hating on me for it, but hey, what could I say? So, actually, we're going to start with the S tier units. First off, Jack. People do hate on this unit for his damage, but what he does have is a guaranteed, and at max, he is insane. I've seen this additional attack alongside the skill page be insane. So what happens, what does suck and could have been made a lot better is basically when you have 3 stacks of his miscalculation, which he gets 1 per time he uses his skill 2, and then he gets 1 or 2 at max dupes right away from the passive. And there's so much I love from this unit, but so much that I hate. His damage is not amazing. You do need the 3 stacks of miscalculation for this to be insane if you have the skill page. You need the skill page for him, but like, you know, max, I'm calling max potential, right? So with the 3 stacks, you get 500% increased damage, but because it's not attack and magic attack and it's just increased damage, if you're only doing like 20k, it's only going to go up to 100k, right? But 100k for the most part is good enough. But what's very crazy about him is he has a stun on ultimate and he has a stun on skill 1. If there's a bleed active, it's a 50% chance. This is pretty good for buffing himself. So what you would usually do is you would use the skill 2, then the ultimate, you get the stun. But what's even crazier, he gets 20% stamina when he's attacked. So if you attack him like turn 1, even if it's just like a counter, right? If you attack into a counter and then they counter back, he's going to get his 20% stamina, which means he attacks next guaranteed because you start with 80%. And when you get to 100% stamina, you attack, which makes him very good. But the main part is the stun. If you use Julius and Jack together, the stuns work great. And yes, his damage is sometimes lackluster, but at max dupe, trust me, his damage is going to be insane. I really do like Jack. I really do. And I think he's a perfect addition, mainly for his stuns. His stuns are really good. He's going to attack a lot because every time he's attacked, he gets 20% stamina. And he has 104 speed just out the bat, so it's better than every other, almost every other DPS. If we go to DPS stats, speed, right? Sorry, I have to put DPS speed. He is the 4th, and he gets 20% stamina every time he's attacked. So that to me is very good. Next up is Veto, which I think people are severely underrating too, which is so sad. Veto is just insane. Skill 2 gives him damage reduction, increased defense, heals himself, ultimate, AoE buffed, or AoE like super taunt, I think, for 2 turns. It's a 2-turn taunt, 70% chance to taunt, AoE. And every time someone who's taunted attacks, it doesn't even have to be on him. Every time the person who's taunted attacks, he heals for like, for me, 10k. Every time they attack. If he gets AoE taunt, if the whole enemy team attacks, that's 40k healing right there. That's literally half his HP. He has very high HP. This guy's very good. And if you land usually like 2 or 3 of the taunts, Vettel's gonna be insane. Especially it could stop healing, right? Remember, taunts stop buffs. Any buff skills that don't have an attack, you can't use them once you're taunted. And it's a 2-turn taunt, which completely disables people like Hono, Charmy, Mimosa, Charlotte, William, right? Rhodes. Rhodes becomes almost useless. Finral, Voltos, and he also heals every time. He's not going to be dying. He heals himself even on his skill 2. He increases his damage reduction, defense. He's insane. Like, Vettel is really good. Like, really, really good. If you run him on a speed team, this guy shines so brightly, and it's insane. I really do appreciate what they did with Vettel. Now, Fuego is one of those units that I'm so tempted to put in S tier, right? But I'm very limited to not putting him in S tier because of the fact that we're starting to stray away from just a shield meta. We've got people like Charmy now. We got Charlotte, who gives everything but shield. Like she like protects you defense wise without giving you shields, right? She gives damage reduction 20% and also the total defense, right? You got William for fortify, same thing like Charlotte. We've got the defense increase, right? So there's other ways that we're not just getting protected by shields, right? The shield meta is still very big, but there's many ways to counteract it without Fuegoleon. But Fuego is definitely high A tier, I think, for me personally, because he has AoE Dispel Barrier. Now this, once we get more burning units that are good, like once Mario Leona comes out, I think Fuego is going to become S tier, because how it works is that he increases his damage. It's not a, it looks like it's a just debuff that applies for multiple turns, but it's just for his ultimate, depending on how many burn stacks there are on the targets. It's going to either give 20% increased damage, 75 or 220%. But right now the 220% is almost impossible to get. And once we do get more people that could burn, this is going to be insane, because 220% AoE is going to be crazy. Plus the Dispel Barrier is very good at the moment. So he's high A tier. It's just the threshold for S tier is much higher. Double stun, AoE 2-turn taunt, insane healer tank, or healer that protects you. Really good debuffer, high speed, provides the taunts, what's it called, damage reduction, speed, right? It's just like they're on a different caliber almost, all of these units. And it's crazy how like season 1 was just such a crazy season. We got SS, S, and then an A1 still. Season 3 was like kind of pathetic for the most part. I think it didn't really change the meta, but Charmy was definitely an annoying one, right? Now, one thing that's so sad is that Gundari is the lowest ranked out of all of them. So he was very close to being B tier, but he still has some uses. He has a 3-turn invincibility, but as they were officially stated, the 3-turn invincibility is 3 action turns from anyone in the round. How turns work usually is when the person who has the buff attacks. That's 1 turn, right? But it's for the invincibility, which makes it so you can't take any damage. It's just 3 turns from anyone, and Julius could waste 2, and then you have 1 turn left, right? So the invincibility isn't crazy, but he still has fortify, and his skill 2 makes it so you cannot target the person that you select, giving 2 barriers, increasing defense. So he still has some uses, has pretty high defense. So Gundari still has some uses. He is not crazy, but he is still worthy of A tier, and definitely not a B tier unit, because he gives the 34% damage reduction with a chance of having invincibility that could be useful, but it is not every time, which kind of separates him from S tier. And his skill 2 is still very good, making it so that like you could stop someone from dying. But like, let's say you don't want Julius dying, right? And you prolong his life by 1 turn, and you also have his extra life. That basically makes it so Julius is going to live an extra, at least minimum 2 turns, if you provide basically what is called protection. The protection buff makes it so you can't attack someone who has the buff protection. And he also gives him like a 20k barrier, so like you're going to basically be fine from any AoEs, which makes it very good. 20k is definitely enough to like shield you for the most part. So he's still decent. All the new units have been in A tier or S tier or SS, which is insane to me. Now, the only things that I would potentially change is Jack in high A, or Mars in SS. That's the only things that I would change. I could even see Mimosa going into SS. But for now, this is the final tier list. I'm happy with this tier list, honestly. We're starting to get a lot more units, right? 5 units was quite a lot. Last season we got 4, but only 2 of them really had an impact, being Julius and Charmy. Asta was still pretty good, but now we got a better version, being Vetto, where Asta has an AoE 2-turn taunt of 34%. His is 70%, which is just much better. And what he does is, to me, much better in my eyes, more worth. You could check out my showcases, obviously, but except for that, let me know what you think. Of course, if there's certain parts you do not understand, go to that part, please. I encourage you to, if you are gonna make a, if you're gonna like contradict what I'm saying or go against what I'm saying, try to understand my point of view and make even better opinions as to why I'm wrong. I would love to see why. I think that, of course, this isn't perfect and you're supposed to have things you do not agree with. If you don't, that's a bit weird, right? Everyone plays differently and that's just how it is, right? At the moment, I'm probably like top 500 PvP, but I'm going to be doing some silly little videos which might take me out of the top 500 again, which sucks. But I could easily get top 500. That's the thing. If I would just play teams that are boring, but now I'm trying to start playing more different teams, right? So that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.